All right, so this is entitled How to Overcome a Broken Heart, right? It's not easy. And your heart can be broken over a number of things. When I was in the 8th grade, was that 8th grade? Yeah, I think it was 7th or 8th grade. There was a school dance. I didn't know how to dance. My babysitter tried to teach me how to dance, slow dance. In Flint, Michigan, we have I don't know if y'all people out there from Flint back in the 80s, if you know how we slow dance, we have a very specific way to slow dance. Anyway, my babysitter, at the time, he said, what do you need a babysitter at 12, 13 years old? Well, I had one. Had a crush on her too. But anyway, she taught me how to slow dance. Anyway, went to the dance. And I was a wallflower because I was an introvert. And Tina Marie came on. Y'all remember Tina Marie? Everybody rushed to the floor to slow dance. And it was just me and this really pretty young lady. And I asked her if she wanted to slow dance, and she said yes. My heart leapt through the sky. We got together and we got on the floor and we began to slow dance, but I couldn't get into the rhythm. We have a certain way of slow dancing in the Flint. I couldn't get into the rhythm, and the young lady walked off the floor and left me standing in the midst of other young people slow dancing. I was dressed really nice too. I'll never forget it. Man, I went home. I had such a broken heart. It was horrible. It was horrible. In the early 80s at Holmes Junior High School, it was called at the time. It was a terrible feeling, right? So, love, crushes can put you into a space of having a broken heart. But it can also be, I'm an actor, right? It can be work related. Maybe about 25 years ago, there was an up and coming director who was directing a very prolific movie, and I knew him, and he said he wanted me to be in the movie, and I was really excited about it, had high hopes. And I never will forget, I hadn't heard from him, so I decided I would call him. I was right on McLean and Union Avenue, and I was coming out of the Starbucks, and I called, and his assistant picked up the phone, and I said, hey, I was just checking in to see, when I might be needed for the shoot. And she said the shoot has already happened, has already been shot. And that was that on that. My whole heart wasn't just broken. It sank beyond my stomach into my feet. My mind was in complete disbelief that this happened. My heart was broken. And it happens a lot as an actor, to be honest. In your life, there's a broken heart as it relates to family, or a best friend, or your job, or there was a loss of a loved one, or probably the biggest one is romantic, right? There's a broken heart there because someone broke up with you, or because you broke up with someone, or someone betrayed you, or you betrayed someone, or you were in love with someone and they weren't as in love with you, or someone was in love with you but you weren't as in love with them. All these things lead to broken hearts. And then where are we when we get a broken heart? It may take us to bad places. It may take you to some kind of a mind-altering drug, right? Or alcohol, right? Or eating, right? Or indulging a ton in sex, right? Or it could take you to some places in order to try to get rid of that pain, and then you add pain onto it because you tried all these things to try to get rid of something that really can't be gotten rid of that way. So then what do? I can only speak from experience. I've failed mainly in knowing what to do with a broken heart because, I'm a sober, recovering, right, alcoholic, and what have you, for 15 years, right? But 15 years ago, that's how I coped with things like that. So I didn't do too well. But the beautiful thing is over the past, let's say 13 years, I've learned a form of prayer meditation that's had quite an impact on me. And I actually didn't mean to even talk about this, but I think I'm just going to share it anyway, because it has worked for me. There is a book by Madame Guyon, who is a French Christian spiritualist, I guess if you want to call it that. She was Catholic, but produced a really beautiful book called Experiencing the Depths of Jesus Christ. And in this book, it talks about how to unite with God by going inward. And she doesn't mention meditation much. She mentions it as a prayer, and it is, but it's more of a prayer of listening and receiving. It is a prayer that I do every night that puts me into a deep sleep, like I took a narcotic sleep. And sometimes I may not get enough hours, but the sleep is so deep that it feels like I've had hours of sleep, right? And going inside yourself, there seems to be a mechanism within my spirit, which I believe is God, that sort of draws me deeper in, and I sort of lose myself in the space of a tremendous amount of serenity. And one of the anchors to do it is by picking up a scripture verse and allowing for that scripture verse, through meditating on it, to then lead you into the deep, as it were, where you let the scripture go, but you stay in the deep. And there's several stages of this experience that I go through and that she goes through. I've been doing it for years. That heals and rejuvenates my soul, which is where the heartbreak is, right? Then what I do is I begin to focus on the future of what I want to be, do, and have. I begin to focus on the things that I want out of life, the things that I'm hoping will happen, the things that I have intentions on happening that are of a benefit to me and other people, that I allow for myself to say yes to the good of that, which is God's good, the good that I desire, and having my focus on the things that I'm hoping for, the things that I'm dreaming of, the things that I'm going to do, the things that are already working in my favor. When I focus there, it takes my mind off of whatever events happen, where I might have a broken heart, and puts my heart into the space of the things that I desire. And somewhere in the midst of that, the broken heart starts to heal. Sometimes it happens in real time. And it's a beautiful thing because, man, it is nothing like the pain of a broken heart. Whether it's romantic, right? Whether it's with a family member, whether it's with your children or your parents or your coworkers, or whether it's career. There's a lot of heartbreak in acting. No doubt about it. And from the beginning of the audition to the end of the shoot, there's some things that can happen that can break your heart, right? It's not even the shoot to when the movie comes out. There's some things that can happen that, can break your heart. So I appreciate you all. There have been some of you all out there who have, called me, actually, or DM'd me about what these videos mean to you. And you have to know, it means something to me also. This is healing for me also, but it also is a blessing when you reach back out to me and tell me how much these videos mean to you. And because I know that there's a number of you out there that are struggling, and you're not alone, I struggle too. I know there's a lot of heartbreak out there. And so I wanted to put out a video of one of the things that I do that leads me into a place of a heart healed.